let's talk about the two teams that have already clinched their division. Now, we don't talk about too many teams here, but we like to talk about the Nats and the Orioles. And actually, both those teams have already clinched their division. They've locked it up. What's cool about this is we might see what we're liking to call, I don't know, what would you rather call it? The Battle of the Beltways or the Parkway Battle?
The Battle of the Beltways, definitely, even though it's more cliche, but I think it's more used because that's definitely a better name than Parkway Battle.
But they have the BW Parkway, a parkway that goes from Baltimore to Washington.
I don't care. Parkway Battle, that just sounds silly.
But it's different. It's at least not the same
Battle
thing.
of the Beltways has alliteration, Brian. Look it up. Alliteration.
It means you use the same letter in the front. All right, I did graduate high school. All right. I did do that.
Did you?
I did. But yeah, so you had Baltimore and the Nationals actually both clinched on the same day, which is pretty cool. I believe it was Tuesday night. They both clinched their divisions, so the champagne showers happened there. And honestly, you might see both of these teams winning their leagues because right now the Nationals are in first place in the NL. They, I believe, only have a game lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers. But then you have Baltimore, who was lots of games behind, but now, after going 9-1, I think in their last 10 games, they're only about 2 games back from the Los Angeles Angels. So it's a possibility that you see both of these teams win their respective conference leagues. I guess it's not conferences in baseball; they call them leagues, which is baseball just wants to be different.
I think baseball was kind of around first.
All right, fine. Every other sport just wants to be different.
They just want to be better.
Yeah, but but these two teams are kind of doing it formulaic because you're seeing good starting pitching. Now, I will say this: the Nationals have one of the best rotations in baseball. I've said this over and over and over. It's going to be almost harder for them to decide who not to let pitch because you have Steven Strasburg. I think just to keep his confidence, he hasn't had the greatest year in the world, but he's still, I believe, he's 5th most strikeouts in the all of MLB right now. But he is your ace. He is going to be there. He's your face of the franchise. He is going to be your player that's going to be with you for the next 10 years. So I think just confidence-wise, you put him in first. And then you have Gio Gonzalez, which I could almost see them taking him out of the rotation. He's had a really bad year. He has been plagued by injuries, so it's not all his fault. But then you have Doug Fister, who's come over and been dominant, and you have another young guy, Tanner Roark, who's been amazing. And let's not forget, their best record of any of the pitchers is Jordan Zimmerman, who has been nothing but the most solid pitcher just in baseball like the past year. Well, all right, never mind. I'm going to retract previous statement. Clayton Kershaw has been the most consistent because he's just amazing. But, yeah, so we're
barring that.
But barring that, yeah, we're looking at a really, really good pitching staff. Now, they've had some problems with their closers. Rafael Soriano was spectacular the first half of the year. Didn't make the All-Star game, and maybe it was a confidence break, and he's kind of gone downhill. But they've had this other kid, Stammen, step in the closer role and do amazing. So they're pretty set there. And then on the Baltimore side, you really don't have quite the records or the dominance of pitching that you do in with the Nationals, but you do have Chen, who's been a really solid pitcher. I believe he's got like 15, 16 wins this year. You've had Ubaldo. A lot of people thought he was going to be better than he was. Hasn't done great, but he's done all right. And then you have Tillman and Gonzalez and a couple other pitchers. But the thing I like to look at with them is, yeah, they don't have any pitcher with an ERA under 3, but they don't have a starting pitcher with an ERA over 4. So that means you're right there in that sweet spot. The Orioles will hit like 4 home runs a game because they have something like 30 more home runs than the next team closest to them. That's all they do. They just hit the ball, and it goes, and it goes. I mean, it doesn't matter who's in there. If Chris Davis isn't hitting home runs, they bring in Steve Pearce. He's hitting home runs. They just picked up Nelson Cruz, and he's just is leading the majors in home runs. And then Adam Jones, he's good for about 25 to 30 home runs a year, no matter what you're doing. So both of these teams are looking really good. And you know what? I'm kind of looking forward to maybe all right, I'm going to call it the Parkway Series. That's what I like. I'm going to do it because I don't like Battle of the Beltways.
Battle of the Beltways just sounds, it rolls off the tongue better.
Yes, it does sound better, but we're going to call it the Parkway Series.
Parkway just doesn't sound impressive either. You think of nice, shiny, like sunny park. Like you don't have a battle in a park.
Fine, Battle of the Parkway. Parkway Parthenon.
Parthenon? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I know. It's a temple in Athens, but I'm just trying to think of other words. Parkway. Come on. All right, you know what? This is what
Parkway Perry? I don't know.
Yeah. This is what we need. So I need some people to throw some comments down below. Let me know some of the best nicknames for this Parkway series, and let's make it sound better than the way I'm making it sound right now, because I want it to stick. Parkway Pitch.